Hey guys, what's up? It's Zion here, and in today's video, we're going to be quickly going over how I make my thumbnails for my YouTube live streams. I actually live stream here weekly on YouTube, and part of that is making a thumbnail for my live stream that's going to attract an audience to come watch my videos. Now, you don't have to do this if you live stream on YouTube. It's completely up to you whether you want to create a thumbnail or not. Some people just use the same thumbnail when they're going live, and that's totally fine. And then if you don't actually create a thumbnail, it'll actually just, I think, auto-populate every 5 or 10 minutes with whatever's kind of happening on your stream. So it'll just keep populating. But for me personally, I like to create a thumbnail that's contextual to what I'm going to be actually doing on that stream. I also like to create a thumbnail that's eye-catching or will hopefully draw people's attention when they're looking through YouTube. If my live stream gets recommended to them, my hope is that the thumbnail will, be enough to then want them to click onto it and maybe come check out my stream. And so here's some examples of all different thumbnails I've done for a few different games. I'm not going to be running through exactly how I made each one of these thumbnails because that would be a huge video, but I'll go over some just fundamentals that I've learned and just some stuff that I've used to really make my process for making these really quick. Something that I want to kind of dive into first is talking about reasoning why I would make a custom thumbnail over not making a thumbnail. The main reason for me is because YouTube, when it shows your video that you're live, for an example here, if my video is shown in, the list of YouTube videos, if someone's searching maybe for Modern Warfare 2, for example, the only thing that it really indicates that I'm live is this little live now button, or this little live now text. For me, that's not really obvious enough for some people. So what I like to do is I actually like to put a big red, live somewhere on my video thumbnail. So when people they see the text where I say I'm live, free for all trick shotting on Modern Warfare 2, it says live now, and then in the thumbnail, if you're looking at all these thumbnails, this does really stand out. And so for me, that's 3 things that people can kind of connect with and go, oh, okay, maybe I should click on this because this guy's live right now. Something else I do with my thumbnails is I actually export 2 versions of thumbnails. I export one for when I'm live, which has this live text, and then I export one that has the no red border and no live text. And the reason I do that is so once I'm finished live streaming, because my live streams actually just go unlisted on my channel, they don't show up in my videos. But if there's a playlist I actually have, I'll go to it now. There's a playlist I have here on my channel where you can see my past live streams, but it doesn't actually show up in my videos. So the reason I do it like that is because I actually like to have them just in case someone does find my video later. I don't want them. This is actually a video I have private, so this is not a good example, but all these other videos you can see here, these are all videos that people might find when searching, for games, or it might get recommended to them. So I don't want the thumbnail to represent and, show for them to be thinking I'm live and then click on it and then I'm not. I just think for me, it's just something that I've kind of automated for my videos. So I just export both and then I upload the second one whenever I'm done with my live streams. But let's jump back into Photoshop because I want to show you guys a couple things quickly before we actually go into making the thumbnail that I'm going to make for my next video. So something I get asked a lot is how you can easily cut out objects, or whether it's this intervention here or the roof here where I've done this text. And something that I don't know if a lot of people know about this, but in Photoshop, they have an amazing AI selection tool, which can do a really pretty good job at being able to select what you want to select. So for this thumbnail here, I edited my screenshot, which you can kind of see filter on. So it was edited, and then I put a bit of a blur on. So I've got those 2 things. But then what I did with this is I actually said, okay, I want to select the sky. So literally in Photoshop, you just go up to select, you hit sky, and that's it. This is now masked out all of this sky. So what I did is I inverted this mask because instead of selecting the sky and just, you could just delete that if you wanted to, but because it's a smart object, what I did is I inverted it. So I hit Command Shift I, I'm on a Mac, and then I hit Command J to duplicate that layer. And so what that actually did is it made an additional layer with the sky cut out. So you can see it's actually cut out here now. And then I just put my text behind it. And then if I turn the other layers on behind it, there you go. You can see it's cut out really well. Photoshop does an amazing job at this. You don't have to tweak it too much. The other thing I use a lot is for this particular thumbnail, I cut out myself. This was my SR25. And then my buddy Snag here, I wanted to cut him out as well. Something that you can do is if you have a subject in your photo pretty clear, this one is even he's on some rocks here. So if you go up to select and you go subject, Photoshop will actually be able to select your subject pretty easily. The other thing you can use, which I use a lot as well, just to quickly cut out stuff, is the object selection tool. So down the bottom here, if you hold this and you go object selection tool, if you literally just trace around the thing you want to select. So quickly, just do it really roughly. Photoshop will then select, look at that, I got it exactly. So if I go select a mask now, you know, besides his legs, which if I wanted to, I could just quickly, you know, erase around his legs to kind of clean that up. It does a really, really good job of quickly, like if I, you know, hit that mask, duplicate that, and then I turn all this off, like it's really, really quick. So you don't have to spend too much time cutting stuff out. Now let's go into the thumbnail I want to make. So when I'm creating a thumbnail, I actually have a template which has my live text and, you know, this little subscribe thing here and my logo. And then I have the post live thing, which is just my logo. If you guys want to download this, what I might do is I might actually leave a link on my Discord. So if you go to my Discord, come join my Discord. But if you go to my Discord and you go to free downloads, I'll leave it down here for you guys. If you want to come download that template, it'll be a PSD and I'll maybe even include a PNG as well. So that way you can just drag it over your videos. I'll obviously not include my logo for you guys, but if you want to have that to use in your videos, I'll leave that in my free downloads. But I basically, I open this template and then I have a photo here that I had selected earlier. I'm going to drag this in. Normally what I'll do with a lot of the screenshots that I use for my thumbnails is I'll just go into a game and I'll, you know, take a bunch of screenshots of whatever I'm doing, whether, you know, I'm in the middle of playing or whatever it might be. So I have a big bank of stuff to pick from. And so this was a screenshot from the other night when I was free-for-all trick shotting, and free-for-all trick shotting on IW4X, which is a modded version of Modern Warfare 2, if you don't know, is unique because you can kind of get up into some really high, crazy places. I actually took a screenshot from up here, and the first thing I want to do is I actually want to edit this to make this look a bit more vibrant and pop a bit more. So I'm going to go up to filter. I'm going to go to camera raw filter. This is the same, camera raw filter is normally what you edit like photos with, like if you're editing raw photos or just photography. But I love using it for thumbnails because it's really quick and it's a great way to make stuff look really, really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust some of these settings and I'll come back once I'm done, when I'm happy with how this looks. All right, so I just finished my edits for this particular screenshot, and you can see if I turn this off, the difference it makes in the overall color and just the look of the image. It makes such a big difference from a kind of washed out screenshot to something that kind of looks like, you know, I would want to click on this and check it out. So that's something that I use a lot for just quickly editing screenshots. It's a great way to make stuff kind of pop and kind of have a bit more vibrancy. And something else I actually use sometimes is an iris blur. And the reason why I use this is I try and use this to subtly pull people's eye into what I want them to focus on. So for example, the intervention and kind of the height of the map is what I want people to focus on. Because you got to remember, I'm looking at, you know, the screenshot here on, you know, a large monitor, but people are going to be seeing it most likely like this. So it's really important that you kind of have something that's going to grab people's attention really quickly. I'll quickly go through that just to show you what that looks like. So if you go to blur gallery, iris blur, you kind of get this blur here that you can then use this oval to kind of drag out where it's going to blur and when it's going to start. And then if you pull back on this, you can do the intensity. I normally ever do like 1 or 2. It really doesn't need to be too much, but I'll try and use this to kind of focus people's attention on what I want them to focus on. So I've added it now, and honestly, it doesn't look like much, but if I turn it on and off, you can kind of see the outsides of this screenshot here kind of just have a slight blur to them. And for me, when you're looking at this again, kind of from a smaller point of view, that kind of pulls your eye and pulls your attention into what's going on in the video. So, but other than that, for this, we might be able to also add some text. So again, what we might do is we might use the object selection tool, and I'm just going to quickly select around this intervention here. It might have a bit of trouble because there is a lot of other stuff in the background, but we'll see. No, it did a pretty good job. So I'm going to deselect this stuff here. I don't want that. And then make sure the hand is in there as well. Make sure this stuff is in there. And then after I've kind of roughly selected it with the object selection tool, what I'll do is I'll go selected mask, because then it actually cuts it out fully and you can kind of see what you're looking at. And to be honest, like I could clean up, you know, some of this a little bit, but if I just really wanted a quick way of cutting this out and then putting some text behind it, I'm going to go back to my other thumbnail here where I had some text. I'm just going to quickly grab this as an example. And then what I'm going to do is I actually need to cut out this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Command J. What that does, it actually makes a cut of what you had masked. So again, that literally took me 20 seconds to do that. But now I can drag, you know, my text behind here, and I might say FFA, you know, for because I'm free for trick shotting, and I might muck around with the placement of this until I'm happy with it. But again, it's not something I don't like spending too much time on these, because it's something that I would rather get to live streaming than making a bunch of thumbnails. But it's something that now that I've got this process down, I can make these within 5 minutes, as long as I've got the screenshot and I kind of know what I want to do. But let's just say, for example, for now we're going to keep it like that, and this is my screenshot. What I would do is I would export this version, and then I would also export my post live version, and that's pretty much it. I hope this helped you guys in kind of understand how I make my thumbnails. All of this was done in Photoshop. I probably should have said that at the start of the video. And if you have any questions on the process, or setting this up for yourself, feel free to leave me a comment below. I'll do my best to help out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.